All right, welcome to the channel. I am Chris Ferguson. The man to my left, to the right of the screen, to the left of the screen, I'm not sure how you're looking at it, is Tristan Lauder. And Aaron, now I'm going to ask you to pronounce your last name, mate, because absolutely everybody butchers it, and I want to make sure I get it right for the rest of the interview. So it's Aaron.
Toes him up toe. T-A-U is my last name, brother. It's
yes,
it's a Māori name, so obviously it has a little bit different pronunciation with the vowels. But yeah, if you got 10 toes on your feet, it's not too hard to figure out, eh?
That's it. I've seen so many people butcher it, and I just didn't want to be that person, mate. So I
appreciate the effort, bro. Cheers.
That's no dramas. Anyway, Aaron is a highly touted prospect out of New Zealand. He's 6-0. He is an XFC double champion, featherweight and bantamweight. He's defending his bantamweight strap at XFC 58 on the 3rd of September against Paul Loga. Before we get into all that, mate, how's the day been? How's life treating you?
Good, bro. Good. Life's pretty good, other than the consistent rain in New Zealand. But hey, hard times make for strong men. So other than that, yeah, no, it's been great.
Beautiful, mate. Before we get into the fight, I did want to touch on. I did a little bit of research on you, and you had a really interesting backstory, uncommon upbringing, living off the land, mate. Was that something that you were born into, or your family moved out to that when you were a little bit older?
No. So I'm pretty much like the last generation that did live off the land. Obviously, we were colonized a couple hundred years ago. And as we got more and more colonized and pushed into the system, we kind of lost those values. And a lot of people moved away from the countries to move to the city to get jobs and upskill in the world we live in today. So I'm fortunate enough I got to live and grow up like the old school people. And my dad he didn't have a job. He just hunted for meat. And my family and I, we did a lot of gardening, and we had our own animals and stuff. But yeah, so a lot of the skills that I have aren't really applicable in today's society. But if an apocalypse happens, brother, I feel pretty confident that my bloodline will survive.
Dude, got to prepare for the zombie apocalypse, am I right?
Hey! You never know what's gonna happen, brother.
Man, what age did you actually move into the city, or at that point? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, my mom's family's from the city in Auckland here. I grew up north. We did come down every now and then, but it wasn't until I was about 15 I got said that I had surgery and stuff on my face, and then lived in South Auckland, got into a bit of trouble, and my mum sent me straight to Australia to buck my ideas up. So I didn't have much of a experience in the city, and just obviously different cultures and different environments. So being sent from the bush to South Auckland and then to Australia, I got a few culture shocks in a row, but yeah, it seemed to pay off in the long run.
I was going to say, adapting to that way of life, coming from something totally different. How was that?
That's one of my skills, bro. I learn pretty quick. So obviously when you're surviving off the land and stuff, you have to kind of adapt to nature, and that was one of the things that I learned. And obviously we had a lot of animals, so they teach you pretty quick too. If you do things the wrong way, you're going to get hurt pretty bad. So it only takes you a few times getting kicked by a horse to realize that you probably shouldn't walk behind it.
Is there any kind of part of you that you kind of wish that you could go back to kind of living off the land like that, or is there that kind of temptation there? Or?
Oh, brother, I grew up in paradise. I grew up in paradise. I grew up in the most beautiful place ever, and to live off the land and have that kind of childhood, all we did was ride horses and swim and like play in the bush and hunt and learn how to grow food and stuff. That's the epitome of life, you know, especially when people start to get on in age, they start to realize those things. So I lived in paradise, been through hell. I'm coming out the other end, and I'm just doing this for my people, you know. I'm doing this for the people that I love, because I want them to know that they can accomplish anything that they want in their life. And I can't sit here in paradise and tell you that you can go and accomplish anything you want without actually showing you any proof. So I walk the walk that I talk, and once I've done that, I just go back to paradise, brother. I'll smash everyone's heads in until they give me a big shiny belt and $1 billion. And then I'm going to escape back to the bush and just live my life like it never happened. And then all the stories that I tell the young kids, they can't not believe me because, hey, I'm the proof.
That's the dream, mate. That sounds absolutely fantastic. How did you fall into martial arts then?
I grew up in New Zealand, especially up north and in South Auckland. Fighting is just part of the culture, you know. As a kid, you have a lot of fights and you get picked on. This domestic violence and all the violence is normal in our livelihood. So that part of me was always quite strong. I enjoyed to have a fight and everything that came with it. Did a bit of boxing, and my dad did kung fu, and I was like kind of like a monk. Less of the meditation and more of just different kind of monk style. But I got into it pretty much. I was playing league. I made Queensland Māoris when I was over there. Played for Caboolture Snakes. I was trying to make Queensland team because that was the only place that I felt like I could use my aggression, and someone gave me a positive response. So I just spent heaps of time doing that. And one day, one of my coaches just said to me, he's like, look, Aaron, you could do this as a sport. You're pretty good at it. You're athletic. You listen, you learn pretty quick. He's like, but you just come here and try and fight everyone every week. He's like, why don't you go and do that as a sport? And I was confused because I'd seen MMA and like I watched a lot of kickboxing and boxing growing up, but it never clicked in my head that I could do this as a sport. Because it was also frowned upon. No one wanted me to be violent because of the way in the environment that I grew up in. So, yeah, I just spoke to my missus' brother at the time, and he was just like, he's an MMA fiend, fan, whatever you want to call it, brother. All he did was just watch MMA from the top to the bottom. He knew everyone and everything about it. So, and he was a real good boxer. And he just said to me, go and do jiu-jitsu. He's like, everything that you need in life will be in jiu-jitsu. So I just rocked up to a jiu-jitsu gym and got beat up from a 50-kilo chick. She smashed the shit out of me. I didn't know about tapping and stuff, so she like hip tossed me over her head, slammed me. It was after I kind of insulted her, not directly, but I was like, so I go into the class, right? We're doing hip tosses and into arm bars, which is like a common judo and combination. So I was like doing the hip toss. We drilled it. I threw her a few times, put her in an arm bar. She's just like, yep, cool. And we're, doing the forms kind of thing. And we kind of went a little bit live. And I just said to the coach, I walked up to him, here's a black belt. And I was like, is it okay if I just go with someone like, like a man that's like, quite big? I just want to see if this shit works. Like, I have no experience in this. And he just gave me a smirk and just looked at the chick. I didn't notice she had a purple belt on, and just like gave her like the heads up, like, yeah. Now I know what that means. Obviously, just like sort this shit out. Time to regulate this guy's ego. So, yeah, he's like, okay, guys, we're just gonna go live for a few rounds and just test it out. And so I was like, sweet, we're standing up. We just slap hands, fist bump, and I was like, sweet. She just instantly the technique we've been doing for the last half an hour. Just threw me over the top of her head, like had me up in the air. I was like looking down at her while she was throwing me, like, oh shit, this is like, but this works. And I had forgotten about hitting the ground and then the armbar. So I hit the ground, I was like winded, stretched out, and I was like, oh. And then she starts armbarring me, but I don't know how to tap and stuff, So I'm just like kind of like groaning, like and then she like keeps going, I'm like So I just start screaming. All the class was looking at me, and then she's like, why don't you tap? And I was like, what's a tap? I was like, what's a tap?
Oh.
She was like, you could tap and I'll let you go. I was like, I thought the screaming was enough,
Verbal tap, man. Verbal tap.
Yeah, like, hey, this is me in pain over here. So yeah, that was my introduction to jiu-jitsu and judo, and that was like, I'm a smaller person, obviously being a bantamweight, and I was like, this, and there's no disrespect to women or small people, but if a chick could do this to me, I felt like I'm quite strong. Then what could I do with these techniques to other people, and how much it applied to my life? Because in jiu-jitsu, you can't be aggressive. If you're overly aggressive, you're gonna wear yourself out for one, and you're gonna put yourself in dangerous positions. So I just learned to be calm. I learned to be more methodical. I learned to slow down and actually anticipate movements and feel my way through situations that it's leached into my whole life, and I was able to fix a lot of things that I probably couldn't have without jiu-jitsu. So that's how I got into it. Then my coach, Kieran Cronin, and two other of them up at Infinity Martial Arts in North Lakes, I found a home there. He started doing MMA, and then Damien Fraser was joining the crew. And then, I just started sparring again. I hadn't really hit anyone for a while, so doing boxing, kickboxing, sparring in the middle of jiu-jitsu, and then wrestling, I was like, I actually really like this. So I just started investing more time into it, and here we are.
Here we are, indeed. How did you get word of the Dan Hooker's scholarship program that you ended up winning?
It was weird, bro. What do you want?
Is that him there now?
Sold the fucking tickets yet? That was on board.
What's up, man?
How are you, Dan? Nice to see you, brother.
Dan, he's ready to go. He's ready to go. Let's pack the fucking place out. Let's sell some tickets. Let's get it going.
That's what we're here to do. We're selling tickets right now, brother.
He's a salesman. He's a salesman.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
That's what I deal with every day. Yeah. I can't even remember the question now.
How did you get involved with that bloke was the question.
Yeah. So I got it was weird, bro. Like all the things that happened in my life, for some reason or another, I could kind of feel the change coming, just some kind of anticipation or weird vibe. And our culture, we call it our wairua, like our spirit, can kind of feel things before the body and the mind get to it. So I've been homesick for weird. I don't get homesick. I've been over there for 10 years, bro. I didn't get homesick. My kids were there. My missus was there. My mum was there. My brother was there. Everyone was in Australia and Brisbane. And I just started getting homesick. And I was waking up and I just wanted to go home. And the only other time that ever happened, my grandmother passed away a couple of days later. And I was it lasted for 2 weeks and I couldn't shake it. I was going to work and all I was thinking was, I just want to go home. I want to go home. And then somewhere along the line, I seen the CKB boys training and I was the future that I'm trying to create, I could do that at home. It was a one light bulb moment. And then I just been talking to my missus about it and she was the one that brought it to me. She was like, Dan Hooker's setting up a scholarship program. She's like, it's over there. Do you want to do it? And I was like, She's like, fuck that. Got the computer out, wrote a big letter to Dan, about how I wanted to come over and do it. And he accepted me. And my mum paid for the flights over because at the time I was I had twins, so I was a bit strapped for cash. So she flew me over and we got tortured for 9 hours straight, 70 people. And it was definitely the least fun day of my life. And then that's when I met Carl Weber and Rob McSwain and all the rest of the team here at the Combat Academy. And they seemed to like me. So I got chosen to be the first scholarship winner. And I moved my family, my two boys and my missus, sold everything in my house and just committed to it 100%. Now I've been here for 3 years, I think.
Since that, Aaron, I'm just curious, how much do you think you've kind of progressed as a mixed martial artist since that happened? Can you kind of give us a kind of gauge of where you think you're at right now?
Ridiculously, probably 100-fold, bro. Training with Dan, Rod, Kieran Joblin now, and Mark Timms. Shout out to Mark Timms. This is T. Training with those guys has completely changed my outlook on fighting as a whole. Obviously I got hard hands. That's why most people just hit the floor. But my main goal before was just hit you as hard as I can with this thing, and I win. Now I'm looking at every kind of angle change you make, your foot position, your hand position, the way you interpret my feints, the way you interpret each weapon, the way you defend each weapon, and then off that is a branch of a million different options that I can take advantage of now. that before was not the way I thought about fighting. My fight IQ's gone through the roof, and just the way that we integrate the striking and the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. Now cross training at CKB, I've opened myself up to even more knowledge, and just being able to use that knowledge on highly skilled people. It just gives you more keys, you know. It's just like it's like learning in any situation. The more you fail, the faster you learn. And I've just taken every opportunity to fail that I could. I'd try and take situations where I probably know I'm not going to come off better off, but I'll use the experience to my advantage. And then the next time I get put in that same situation, I have a new perspective and outlook on how to attack it. And then I get more and more keys to the tools that I use in my fights now. So, yeah.
What is? It's funny that Dan dropped in before. I was going to ask, what does he bring to the table as a mentor for you personally?
Well, he's certainly not a self-esteem coach. No, he's an interesting individual, bro. He very, very hard worker. Like all he does is grind. You know, he puts in the work, and everything that he does himself, he expects you to do. If not up to his standard, you know, close to his standard, and just his overall perspective on life. He has an interesting way of interpreting situations and reminding me of kind of who I am as a person, because he's just such himself, you know. He doesn't care about what people think. He doesn't, all the things that you say that you think that you should do, he does them effortlessly, and it kind of rubs off. So you're more yourself when you're around him, and you have the ability to do the things that other people want you to do in the way that you want to do them and the way you want to express yourself. So he's just like a big ball of energy that bounces around, and you kind of get taken along in the ride. And other than the fight IQ and just his real solid work ethic and grind, just his personality and the way that he interacts with everyone that he's around, it kind of just helps you be you.
What do you make of the Tony Ferguson call out?
Typical Dan, bro. Typical Dan. I was cracking up to him because we come here. One of my mates, Steph the Māori, shout out to Steph. He come down and he's a barbecuer, and he come and dropped off some seafood and stuff to me because he knew I was in fight camp. And seen Dan, and obviously I can't drink because I'm in fight camp. So him and Dad having a couple of beers. We have this beer in New Zealand called Steinlager. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Nah, not heard of it.
It's like they call it the green grenade. You know, you give it to someone and they're probably going to explode. So I was getting smart on because I was like, fuck, give you a couple of Steinies, bro. You just run your mouth on the fucking internet out there fucking yelling insults to someone. So it's just typical Dan fashion, you know. He that's what he wanted to do, and that's how he done it. And it just shows what kind of person he is. He's just real. He obviously wants to fight, and he wants other people to take notice. So what better way than to insult the man?
Nothing better than a good old smash your face, you know.
Brother, what better line to someone? I'm gonna smash your face in. That if you don't get insulted by that, if you don't value your face enough, you obviously wanted to be rearranged.
Do a favour to a couple of people, eh?
Hey, you know, he could move him into the plastic surgery business. I'm sure he's got them a few clients, eh?
Oh man, 100%. We should probably move on to your fight now instead of talking about Dan so much. So Paul Loga, XFC 58, defending the bantamweight strap for the third time. Is that correct?
Yeah, it must be third or fourth. I can't remember.
I'll defer to you, mate. I'll defer to you. You'll know better than me.
Yeah. Oh, look, I just turn up to work, brother. Whoever's in front of me, it's irrelevant. How many times I've done it, can't remember.
What's been the underlying theme for this train camp?
The underlying theme, as
What have you
in
been
like,
working on?
what am I been working on? Oh, I'm never not working on anything, brother. I'm always working on something. I guess you're talking more about game planish stuff. I would say,
Yeah, like what's been the focus? What's been the focus of this training camp?
I'm just the complete mixed martial artist now, bro. That's the focus. As the focus is that there is no focus, you know, like just trying to be water. There's situations and moments that I'll get into certain spots, and I have an answer for all of them now, and that is the focus. I'm a mixed martial artist. If you want to strike with me, I'm gonna strike and I'll blow your head off. If you want to wrestle with me, I'll toss you over my fucking head right at the back with the rest of the pile. If you wanna do jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna show you some new modern age jiu-jitsu that you haven't seen. You know, I'll defend all your attacks, and I'll put you in positions that you wish you never done that. Like, no matter where you go, I will follow you and I'll be right behind you. I'll be on top of you. I'll be making you wish that you hadn't come here. That is where I am at as a mixed martial artist, and that's what I focus on every day. I'm going to put you in a position where I'm at an advantage, and if you feel like you can take advantage of something, it's only there because it's a trap. I laid it there for you. I sprinkled some beautiful dust on it. Come in, Santa, bring your big sacks in. Here's your cookies and milk, brother, and I'll feed it to you. You can't even see me.
Man, I'd hate to think about you putting Santa in an armbar on Christmas, but
Oh, hey, Santa thinks he's got big sex, brother.
Anyone can get it, all right?
Hey, if you're in my house and you're not invited, you're definitely gonna get it.
Aaron, one of the things I saw from Paul coming into this fight was that he kind of quoted saying that, you know, friendship aside for 25 minutes, and I was just kind of wondering if you could go into, you know, a little bit about your history together and if you trained together or something like that.
Yeah. So that jiu-jitsu gym that I started at, that changed my whole life and got me to where I am today, that's Infinity Martial Arts in North Lakes. Obviously, they franchise out and stuff. Excuse me. But he is from Infinity Martial Arts, South Brisbane and Crosswood Sassam. And so we have in-house trainings that you cross-train with different franchises or different parts of the Brisbane city, Ipswich, Kawana, up in the Sunshine Coast, all those places. So we've trained together a lot and for a long time. All of my first MMA fights, I trained with Paulie. All of his MMA fights at the time, he trained with me. I went down to help him get ready for certain fights. We've shark tanked each other, we've wrestled each other, we've felt each other's power, felt each other's strength. So, we are actually genuine friends. Like, a lot of people you train with, they're just kind of acquaintances. You know, you run into them, and if you see them, you'd say hello, but it's not like one of those people you'd value their time enough to take time out of your day to say hello and really catch up. So he's one of those people for me, and I followed his journey. I've watched all his fights. I actually wish all the best for him in his career. But as far as friendships go, as soon as you lock that door and you're in my house and you're uninvited, you're gonna find out how big my sacks are. I had to bring it back. Hey, it was about the Santa reference.
You kill me, bro.
Yeah. The Santa reference.
Just out of curiosity too with that, like, does that make the kind of training camp or preparation a little bit harder because you are friends, or, you know, is it kind of easy because you know each other's strengths and weaknesses? Or?
It makes it fucking weird. It makes it really, really weird for me. I don't usually even know who I'm fighting. The way that Mr. Hooker handles fight build-up, the moment that the organization releases the picture with me on it and the other guy standing next to me, that's when I find out who I'm fighting. Straight up. I never once says Dan be like, hey, you're fighting this guy. Like, what do you? Nah, that's not really. He just goes, you got to fight in 8 weeks, and I'll be like, sweet, because I'm always at the gym. And
so you'd be, surely you're used to that now, but how, like, that's got to be pretty frightening. Like, especially the first couple times, you got no idea who you're fighting. You get put on a poster with someone else, and you're like, okay, there you go.
Well, your imagination is far greater than any persona you put on another person. If you think they're Superman, then you're going to train like they're Superman. If you watch them and you don't rate them, then you're not going to train as hard. If you think you're better than them, then you're not going to train as hard. Like I love the idea of me having to fight Superman. And the other thing is, like, let's just say someone went to your mum's house and slapped her and took her lunch money. Are you going to go there and try and fight them? 100%. I'm going to go there, I'll smash her face in, and then I'll make sure that I take your lunch money and maybe your mum's too, and I'll give it to my mum. Like, I don't care what I fight. If I see you on the street and you want to hurt me or my family, you could be 160 kilos and 6'4". I'm going to fight you. Like, I am a fighter. I've always been a fighter, and I'll fight to the death, and that's just who I am as a person. That's my persona. Like, I don't pretend that I want to fight. I like hitting people in the face. It's something I enjoy, you know? So who it is isn't kind of relevant, because I get to feed the demon in me, and that helps me survive in society. That helps me exist in a loving family, and that helps me be good to my friends and be a good role model to other people, because all the darkness inside of me, I give it a place to live without it affecting the rest of my life. And it's working out so far. And that's why I think it's weird. I don't like, people are weird, bro. Like, right, we're at the highest level probably in the XFC, and there's people like calling me out and making stories and doing all this weird shit because they think they're famous, because that's gonna promote them to get the fight with me. It's like, no, you're not in the UFC, bro. You don't have 100,000 followers. You're not Jake Paul. Like, if you want to fight me, just talk to the promoter and we'll fight. I'm good with that. But to think that you want to go out there and call me out, it's not like you're Dan Hooker and you can just put a tweet up and then 1 million people are going to see it. You know, it's not the same thing. That's not how you get publicity. You get publicity by ticking all the right boxes and smashing people's faces in, and then they give you a fight because you earned it. But with Paulie, I'm his friend on Instagram. I'm his friend on Facebook. And I genuinely like the guy, and I want him to do well. So I watch all his stuff, and even this camp, because of how much interaction I have with his profile, it just keeps popping up. And I'm actually, it's weird, but I'm comfortable with it, if you know what I mean. Like, I find it weird because I don't usually see my opponent till the last minute. I don't know them. I would never watch their stories and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I'm in my hyperbolic time chamber training, trying to level up, and whatever that dude does is up to him, you know. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and I think because I learn really well, really fast, I've kind of already adapted to the situation I'm in, and I actually I'm enjoying this camp, and maybe because it's different, it's getting me out of bed for sure. It's getting me out of bed for sure, because I'm coming back to Brisbane. I haven't fought at home for a couple of years, especially with COVID. I have so many fans and family and friends over there that it's gonna probably sell out, and yeah, I don't want to take anything away from my team or my coach or my training partners, because they'll put me in the position to be the best in the world, and I'm just gonna go out there and show the people that I love and the people that hate me that I'm still getting better, and I'm still champ, baby.
Champ.
Champ. Hey, I think it's like 5. I think I got 5. I got the amateur title and then 4. So I've won it and then defended it 3 times. So this will be the 4th defense.
Stacking them up, man. Stacking them up.
Yeah. Hey?
I was going to say, where, I mean, obviously knowing Paul so well, where do you think he presents the most danger to you?
Man, he's probably the most well-rounded opponent I've had. I'd say he's definitely going to be fast. He's going to be strong. He's going to be fit. The danger is everywhere, you know. That's why I'm enjoying this camp, because the danger is everywhere. Like, I can't give Paulie an inch, you know. He's going to make me work for everything that I have, and to keep it, I'm going to have to really, really make this my fight. And if I allow him to play his game, he has a high possibility of winning. But as I do, I learn fast and I'll adapt, and definitely feel like I'll make a statement in the mixed martial arts scene. I know, was it Ursich? Which one that got the call up to UFC? Was it him?
Ursich, yeah.
Because Contender Series? Yeah, I didn't say your name
Ross,
right, bro. No.
Shannon Ross. Shannon Ross?
Oh, was it Shannon Ross? Oh, it was Shannon Ross. Yeah, I don't know. I think, didn't Ursich get one up as well?
Did he go to the road to UFC? Did he go to road to UFC?
Oh, is it that one? Yeah. So kind of he got a shot at getting somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't sleep on Paulie, and especially the people he's fought. They're all at the top level. He has to be given the respect that he's earned, and the respect is everywhere for him. So I just have to make sure that I play the game that's best for me, and if I get put into different positions, then I'm just gonna have to sink or swim, baby, because I'm not going out of there without my belt. And if I have to get in the car park, then hey, it is what it is. No, I'm joking.
Just do what's got to be done, man.
Hey.
It is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
XFC, you've been with them for a fair while. What keeps you coming back to them? Obviously, you've got the belts there. Is there anything else, like, you just prefer that promotion?
They're just easy to work with, bro. They always kind of looked after me, and obviously XFC in New Zealand is run by Matt Tor, and Matt has a great relationship with Dan, and now he's got a great relationship with me. We've just kind of, if it ain't broken, why fix it type of thing. They've made it easy all the time. They've definitely worked with us to get fights, because obviously it's been a bit hard to get fights. Now that we've opened up Australia again, it's going to be a lot. There's a few names on the list that want to be crossed out. So yeah, they're just a great promotion. The crowds are mean. Obviously, Mansfield Tavern just goes off. I love that place. I actually lived in Mansfield for a few years. That's pretty much my home when I lived there. Yeah. XFC and me, we just come hand in hand at the moment, and it's not going to stop until I get that UFC contract. So if they're not going to give it to me after this one, be sure to see me again, Brisbane, knocking someone else's head off to get me on the UFC early next year in Australia. Sounds good to me.
That was the next question, mate. The bantamweight division's pretty stacked, so it's definitely not the easiest division to get into. But yeah, you're gunning for that spot early next year to get straight on that card.
Yeah, well, any opportunity. I like same thing with who I fight. Dan doesn't really give me a roadmap of where I'm going with this fighting thing. I just turn up and train. I let my work do the talking when it comes to Dan. I don't go and ask him, hey, bro, when am I going to be the UFC champion of the world? Like, it's not really how we interact with each other. It's just like he says that's the next goal, I go and smash it over, and then he'll say that's the next goal, I just go smash it over. That's just how we work at the moment, and I feel like it's a recipe for success, because if you look too far down the road, then you get lost in the moment that you're in. And he's walked the road before. He's obviously given me all the opportunities that I can get, and I'm just making the most of them. So yeah, line them up or knock them over, because I'm coming for the top.
Aaron, is there any kind of other consideration for other promotions like, One or PFL or anything like that, or your eyes are kind of set on the UFC? Or?
Same. I don't know. You have to ask the manager or Mr. Hooker. When they put me on a one poster, shit, I'm a one championship. Nah, I'm joking. Like, I don't know.
Imagine finding out you got signed to a promotion by the poster getting blasted all over online.
That's the life I live. And hey, what's better than living life on the edge? A little bit of mystery is good for everyone.
100%, man.
A little bit off topic, but I was actually pretty curious to ask you about your time coaching the bucket list and how that kind of was for you, kind of switching the role between student to becoming coach, and if you're going to learn anything from that experience.
Yeah. I've been coaching for Dan and with Dan, and like I work for myself now, PTing and stuff, for probably like a year, maybe a bit over a year. And it's just helped me refine my skills more. Like one of the things I was told when I was quite young, if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you don't really understand it yourself, you know. So every time I get a new PT or someone who doesn't know the skills that I know, or a situation or a technique that I know, and I have to obviously share that knowledge with them, it helps me break it down further and further. The further I can break it down, the more clear I can make it to that person, the more I understand the intricacies and how actually detailed each situation is. And that's just made me a better fighter. Like every technique that I've learned 2-3 years ago, I've refined again and again and again and again, and I keep getting better at those certain techniques, and I keep learning more techniques. So it's allowed me to become a better fighter, and have a deeper IQ with each situation, and obviously my ability to put those things together has gotten better, and then I can apply them really well. So that's the thing. When I teach, I just teach the stuff that I use mostly, and then once they've got through that, then I teach the stuff that I know but I don't use a lot. So there's a lot of skills that I have that I haven't used in the cage, obviously, because no one lasts more than 2 rounds. But if Paulie does push the pace or get me to those later rounds, then you're definitely going to see a lot more of me, and I welcome that, because I love teaching, and to be able to show my students that I can use the techniques that I teach and then apply to the situation that I explained to them that they would, and then finish someone with something that no one has ever seen me do. Hey, what more proof do you need to sign up? Hey, and the bucket list is cool, bro. Like, the bucket list is, people come off the street, well, not really off the street, but they like come in, they've never trained before. They have the opportunity to say that they were MMA fighter or train MMA for a certain period of time, and I'm the person that they're taking that experience and knowledge off. It's a great feeling, and for people to actually want to learn from me, same thing. It's a great feeling, and then I have the backing of obviously Dan Hooker and all the coaches here. It was cool, and then I promoted the whole event myself. So I trained them for it ended up being 14 weeks because of COVID, and then I set up the event. I ran the event, and then I sorted everything from the tables, chairs, to the cutlery, the forks, the food, the setting. I moved the cage and stuff around in our gym to set up a better arena. Yeah, it was a cool experience, and I look forward to the next one because it's going to be good.
All right, Aaron, I've run through my list of questions, and we've kept you for about 30-some minutes. Tristan, do you have anything else that you wanted to go over before we let him go?
No, definitely. I'm just keen to see him fight, keen to see him at Mansfield Tavern.
100%, mate. Pardon me. Aaron, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, mate. I've really enjoyed this chat. Once again, that is Aaron Toe. He is New Zealand prospect, bantamweight champion, featherweight champion for XFC, and he's fighting again on the 3rd of September at XFC against Paul Loga, defending that bantamweight strap. Mate, absolute best of luck. I'll try and catch up on the night and maybe buy you a beer after you get out of the ring.
Hey, sounds good. Actually, the fight dietitian is going to be buying the beers because that was the deal.
Tell him to hook
But
us up,
thank
mate.
you, boys. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again when I fight again on the XFC. Or if I make it to the big leagues, I'll definitely touch base with you guys. And yeah, I appreciate the time.
No dramas.
Thanks,
Don't forget
man.
the little guys, brother.
Always. Hey, the little fellas, brother.
My man. Thanks, Aaron. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bro.